say I wasn't there for you.
This week, we're setting the popcorn time machine back to April 7th, 1995, and taking our talents to South Beach, running through the streets practically shirtless so we can re-secure our biggest bust yet. Explosions, gunshots, and more explosions? That's all in a day's work for Michael Lowrey. Get me a pack of Tropical Fruit Bubblicious, grab some Skittles, freeze, mother bitch! And welcome back to another episode of Popcorn Time Machine, where we rewatch, rewind, and react to all those 80s and 90s classics. And not so classics in some cases. This week, we are running with the three of us. We got just enough manpower to power this time machine. So we got me, we got Jimmy, and we got Diaz talking bad boys for life. You can always find us on Instagram, Popcorn Time Machine Podcast, and YouTube, Popcorn Time Machine Podcast. So go ahead and like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff you do. And let's just start this out with some little intros because I'm curious. I think I'm in the minority here. Have either of you seen the other Bad Boys?
Just that one clip from Hot Fuzz. Shit's about to get real, or shit just got real. And they're just like shit-faced on the when they passed out on the sofa. After watching Point Break?
I've seen them all. I really don't remember the third one. Like, I saw it once, and I was like, The second one was a lot bigger budget. The second one was like a whole nother fucking movie. It was just over the top, everything. And if I fucking hear that song, Nelly shaking like a tail feather, ever again in my life, I'll go fucking nuts. That movie, if you watch that, it got to be a fucking Guinness Book of World Records or something. Every like 10 to 15 minutes in Bad Boys 2, you hear shaking like a tail feather, like that Diddy and Nelly song every fucking 15 minutes.
They got their money's worth for that one.
Oh, my God. But I don't remember the third one. I remember the second one. And then the fourth one coming out. So
I was saying, obviously, we're talking about this one because the upcoming Bad Boys movie. But this isn't... So when we were talking Heat a few weeks ago, you know, these like heisty action copping movies, whatever, they're not really my thing. You know, like I knew of Bad Boys. I feel like Bad Boys... And Bad Boys 2 in particular were like, for our age range, like every college kid had the Bad Boys poster. Like that was like a like trademark for like the quintessential, 20-year-old college kid was like a Bad Boys poster. And I never got into them. I still have not seen either of the others, 2 or 3. So I'll probably have to go and dive into this franchise a little bit. I know like I've heard stuff kind of what Dee was saying, like this thing just went off the rails, very Fast and the Furious style. Like we'll get into the movie, but like these are just two, let's say, less than mediocre cops. Like these are not by any means good cops. Like, and the fact that they're getting into even more shenanigans, like up the level of like access clearance that they probably shouldn't be, is just absurd to me.
Yeah,
so
it's yeah, that's all I can say. The sequels are just stop it.
Well, it's kind of like Fast and the Furious, where like it starts off as them in black Honda Civics just robbing trucks with stereo systems, and now they're like doing full-fledged like worldwide international heists.
International, they're going to fucking space,
defying the laws of physics in every single sequel.
Submarines in Antarctica.
Yeah. I mean, I've said it in a joking manner before, but like I fully believe that in the next one, they're going to have a car that goes so fast that they go back in time or something. Like they're going to do time travel in Fast and the Furious at some point. They have to, because they one up it every single time.
There was like a cyborg in the sequel in one of the spinoffs. He was, I'm sorry, cybernetically enhanced.
Oh yeah. Idris Elba, right? That was the Hobbs and Shaw. Yeah. He was like a superhero. Like
I will say this when we talk about like these kind of franchises and stuff, like when it goes to like buddy cop movies or, like going back, Die Hard, John McClane was just like a regular dude. It's like that scene from The Office where Michael Scott's critiquing movies and he's talking about how like John McClane all of a sudden can do, is jumping a car through a helicopter. Well, I will say that I think Murtaugh and Riggs kind of always stayed the same. They were never enhanced by like, the bigger the budget. Like they were always like the same two characters. In even Carter and Lee from like Rush Hour.
Yeah.
they kind of always stay this, like, nothing gets.
He was always ridiculous. Like, he didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
And it wasn't unbelievable ridiculous. Like, he's just a ridiculous, like, karate master. Like, that was part of his story. Like, he was just a great martial arts, like, fight guy. It never really went to the next level. Like, he wasn't, like, flying or, like, anything absurd. You kind of bought in for what he was immediately, and then, like, it kind of stayed at that level.
And that's what I love about, like, Lethal Weapon, is that, if you go back and watch Lethal Weapon 1, you learn a lot about, like, Murtaugh and Riggs' backgrounds. They're Vietnam vets, what's his name? Riggs is this excellent shot because he was a Green Beret, like, 19-year-old in Vietnam who, could make, like, 1,000-yard shot, like, at the time, like, maybe the eighth, only, like, 8 dudes in the world.
Yeah.
And they've always kind of stayed true to, like, those characters. And I feel like, Fast and the Furious, like, it was real. Like, the street racing world, especially, like, early 2000s, was a very real thing. Remember stereo systems, like, back in the early 2000s? Like, I remember my oldest brother had a stereo system in his car with the huge speakers, and, like, we all wanted those.
The neon lights underneath the car, the flashy colors.
And now they're just, like, going to space in Ferraris.
They're James Bond now.
Yeah, it is.
Essentially.
It is crazy. So this franchise seemingly has gone that route. So I'm curious where they bring it in this next movie. So Michael Bay, this is really his introduction. This is his directorial debut.
Now, I was going to ask that. Was this his first movie?
Yeah. So prior to this, he was just doing music video stuff. Like, he did, like, Meatloaf and...
I took the David Fincher route.
Yeah, yep. Yeah. I forget what the other... Lionel Richie, I think he worked with. He had shot commercials for, I think, the Got Milk ad campaign. I believe he was, like, the director for that first, like, run of ads. But yeah, this is kind of came out of nowhere and then turned in Bad Boys. So when it comes to Michael Bay, obviously he has this stigma about him where it's pretty well founded, where it's just explosions. But where does this land for you in the Michael Bay, let's say, his IMDb list? Where do you stack this? Do you like Transformers, The Rock, Armageddon? He's got some classics in there, and Armageddon's one that I think a lot of people shit on that, and I don't think that it's completely warranted. I think a movie that makes men of the age 30 cry in theaters is completely okay.
I swear to God, now on everything, on my newborn daughter, I will literally swear that was the first movie that ever made me cry.
I never minded Michael Bay. I think in a world when it comes to, like, there's two in this particular genre, there's two types of dudes. There's Roland Emmerich guys and there's Michael Bay guys. I fall under the Roland Emmerich category. I love Roland Emmerich, but I always, he does a great, I like Michael Bay's job. Like, he does a great blend of the action comedy route. You see a lot of humor in Transformers, Bad Boys, Pain and Gain.
Yeah. And I forgot Pearl Harbor too. Pearl Harbor.
Yeah. Okay, so Pearl Harbor might be his worst.
Not a Pearl Harbor fan.
Not a Pearl Harbor fan.
What's crazy? Yeah. When it comes to Bay, my wife noticed that as we were watching it. She's like, this had a lot of stuff like Transformers on it. It's the same director. She's like, oh, it makes sense. It's fast, then it's slow. Then it's slow, then it's fast. In every action sequence in this movie, if you go and look at it, they'll show, like, Mike or Marcus running full speed at something, and then they'll show, like, a car go by half speed, and then when they come back, it's the same shot of them running but slow motion. Yeah, like they're going from slow to fast, exactly like the robots did in Transformers. Half slow, half speed, which is awesome. That's his style.
Yeah, yep. I've never, like, minded Michael Bay. I think he blends the comedy and action pretty well. Like, one of his best characters, I think, is Sam Witwicky from Transformers. Like, Shia LaBeouf.
Sam Witwicky
is incredible. Obviously Marcus and Will Smith's character, blanking.
Mike Lowrey.
Lowrey. God, they're so good together.
Yeah, dude, they are great together.
I like Michael Bay. I've never minded him. He's not a go-to for me, but, like, no. I'll always sit down and watch.
I just like it. You can tell his style. You can tell his movie. You
Yeah.
can
I
tell
never
the type of
really,
movie it is.
I never really seek him out for movies. Like, like I like Armageddon, Pearl Harbor's, whatever. The Rock is a classic, but I'm never like, you know what I'm in the mood for? Michael Bay film. I never, I don't mind. And this is a hot take too. I think I just don't like a lot of his, I don't like a lot of the genres that he does. So I never really fully seek it out. But I really like Transformers. I don't care. I
Oh,
think they're
yeah.
really good movies for what they are. I think his style, he is the perfect person to make a Transformers movie. Like it's just that's what it calls for, and that's what he delivers.
It fit.
Yeah.
I remember
So
one time we were in college and everyone was at work. And when you pop on one movie of like a franchise and you're like, oh, I could pop in the
you're in.
dude,
You're
You just
in.
keep
yeah.
watching them.
I spent like 8 hours watching like all like at the time. God, I think the last one at the time was like Dark Side of the Moon or
Yep. Yeah.
is Dark of the Moon. Sorry,
Dark of the Moon, and then there's
Revenge of the Fallen.
Revenge of the Fallen, and I forget the names. They're
That's
like
the Revenge of the
badass
Fallen was
names.
the one with the bounty hunter one. That was the
third one, I think.
The one that was fucking them all up. One guy was killing the Decepticons. He didn't care. He was killing them all.
Yeah, there was.
Honestly, my favorite was the worst one. Was I think Revenge of the Fallen.
I didn't.
I loved Revenge of the Fallen.
So that was the second one. So it was Transformers in 07, Revenge of the Fallen 09, Dark of the Moon in 11, and then Age of Extinction in 14, and then The Last Night in 2017, which I didn't even mind.
I didn't see The Last
He directed all those ones.
He didn't do the Bumblebee one, did he? Like
No, that was somebody else.
Okay.
But yeah, so Bad Boys, April 7th, 1995. Crazy that it's been this long. Starring, obviously, Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. We obviously talked about Michael Bay, but this was made on a $19 million budget. And it had a $141.1 million box office. So we're going to kind of get into our initial thoughts here. But just for a little Easter egg for things to come, I think I have an idea that probably should have happened in this movie that would have made it 10 times better. Now, I don't think it would have turned into a saga, but I think I have something that would have made it a lot better.
You know what's crazy? $19 million budget. Was that a lot for an action movie at that point in time in 95?
Not really.
I don't think so, right?
Probably middle of the road. I don't think it was. I don't think they lowballed it, but obviously directorial debut, it's sort of
true. They didn't give him the budget, in its head he could have wanted.
Well, what's crazy is that this was a Disney script.
Yeah.
And Sony bought it for $3 million.
I forget who was originally supposed to be in this. I heard it somewhere else. They might come to me later on.
There's a few people, according to my notes here. So according to Michael Bay, Sony bought the rights to the script for Disney for $3 million.
Of course, Disney just sells everything. You know what I'm saying, Jimmy?
Yeah.
Martin Lawrence, are they going to come out with a Bad Boys Park?
Probably.
Martin Lawrence had signed on for the script, and the studio wanted to team him with Arsenio Hall.
That was who originally was going to be the Will Smith role. Yes.
Yep. And then Bay decided to replace Hall with Will Smith after noticing the potential of Smith's star power from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Hall turned it down and cites the choices are the worst mistakes he's ever made.
Yeah, he'd still be in the zeitgeist today because they're still making these things. So I guess before we get into like other aspects of this movie, then let's just go around the horn real quick. And what did everyone kind of think of this movie? Like, what are your just overall thoughts before we kind of get into the nitty gritty of things?
I love it. It's fun. It's fast paced. It's a Michael Bay film. I mean, I don't think there's too much you can tap into. It's a fun cop movie. I love buddy cop films. I think they're always like so fun because they start off kind of slapsticky, but then when it gets to like the main like part of the plot or like the and it goes all the way back to like even Beverly Hills Cop where it's like super funny in the beginning, but then when it comes to the climax and stuff, even with Lethal Weapon, like it gets like pretty serious. Even Rush Hour, Rush Hour is pretty
high stakes there.
Yeah, and that's what I love about buddy cop films. So yeah, I love it. I think it's a blast.
I love the comedic. You had a comedic star in Martin. They were in competition on TV. It was the Martin Show versus Fresh Prince. They were both two great comedic actors on two different networks on two different shows, making money at the same time. And you took them both out and said, "Okay, I'm a who can one up who in a cop movie." It was great. by Michael Bay to cast him. And he was right, because after this movie, Will Smith became a megastar.
Oh, another casting too, potentially for Mike and Marcus was Eddie Murphy. Again, how many episodes do we have where Eddie Murphy was almost casted
Right.
in our shows? Eddie Murphy and Wesley Snipes.
That would have been a good one.
Yeah.
See, Wesley don't get enough love. I think Wesley can be very comedic.
Oh, he's great in White Men Can't Jump.
Yep. To Wong Fu.
To Wong Fu with Leguizamo and Swayze.
Yeah, baby.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. This isn't my style, right? I didn't love this movie. I think there's parts of it that are really good. I think that the comedy between the two of them is good, and I can look past like ridiculous things at a time. But the overall plot of this movie, I just can't. It's just so absurd to me that the plot of this buddy cop get our drug movie back. The plot of it is essentially a Freaky Friday situation of just trying to pretend to be the other person. Like, it's just that whole storyline could have been a much smaller segment. It didn't have to carry through the whole movie. So for me, I just was kind of like a little on it. I thought it was fine. The comedy was good, and you know, there's some really cool action stuff like there, but it's a little bit of a ridiculousness, and the whole the way it's shot is like really weird too. Like, Michael Bay thinks everything in Miami is just like super orange. Like, if anything's outside, it was bright
all
orange.
It was all sunsetty. He never did anything.
And if it's inside, it's all blue.
Yeah, I'm watching. I always have like the movies that we're talking about playing in the background. They're literally in the basketball gym, and it's all blue. But also, like, everyone in a Michael Bay movie, if you've ever noticed this, everyone's always sweaty.
Yeah,
everyone's it's always like peak summer. It's always like 90 degrees, 90% humidity, and everyone's always sweating.
Yeah,
you're not wrong on that.
So I guess one of my other thoughts was, does this movie have the worst people ever? Are these the worst cops? Is Julie the absolute worst witness? Is this the worst apartment attendant ever with Chet? And is this Max? Is this the worst friend in the world? Bringing your friend along to be like a stripper or a hooker for the night? Like, oh yeah, come on in.
I'll add to that. The bad guys goons. The two the guy with the pedophile mustache and the fat, overweight, old Italian guy. Like, the goons were bad too.
Like, everyone's just the worst. Like, there's no debate that Martin Lawrence and Will Smith are the worst cops. Like, they're never dressed in uniform. They're bragging about how many people they've killed. At the very end, they don't read the guy the rights. They don't handcuff him. He's got a gun. Like, when they find the dead body, they are touching all the evidence. They remove the murder weapon. Like, they don't call anybody until after the fact. Like, very much the worst cops ever.
And how does Will Smith afford a Porsche on a 1995 Miami cops salary?
No, they say right. His family.
His family's got money. Yeah,
yeah.
He just kind of fell into money and stuff like that. But
all the problems you have with this one. Part 2, like I said, is over the top in a lot of things. But the things you said you liked, the comedy aspect of it, no. Their level is they're better cops in the next one. They're funnier in the next one. They're a little over the top, but it goes in order. Like, one of the funniest movie scenes of all time is in the second one.
Yeah,
the date with his daughter. So
I've heard nothing but good things. But that was one of my things of, like, they just got the worst of the worst for everybody, because, like, there's just no Julie. Like, we'll get to her, but like, she is just the absolute worst. She only wants to talk to Mike Lowrey. She doesn't even know who he is. Like, no clue. Never seen the guy before, but that's the only person.
That's a plot hole right there.
She doesn't want to go into witness protection. She only wants to be in Mike Lowrey's apartment because he's there. Like, and then she immediately, like, leaves the apartment to go to Club Hell and, like, attempts to murder somebody in the middle of the club with a shot that she would never make in a million years.
With a 22 caliber pistol.
Just no shot. But do you remember the first time you had seen this? Was this a, like, college era movie for everyone back in the day?
I saw it when I was a kid, like, younger.
I saw it. I think I saw it. Remember, my grandmother was a huge movie buff. I think she saw it because she thought Will Smith was cute. So I think I saw it at my grandmother's house at one point. And it was just weird to me because at that point they were both comedy stars. I used to watch Martin. I used to watch The Fresh Prince. I never would have thought of them as action stars.
Yeah.
So I thought it was going to be a comedy when I first saw it.
Yeah, and they got those aspects of it too. And one of my other questions too is 95, it's in the middle of the 90s. I think it comes down to Michael Bay being his directorial debut, having worked a lot in that music scene in the 80s, but this movie it doesn't feel 90s. This movie feels 80s to me. It's got those like slow motion shots with like the guitar stringing in the background, like the electric guitar. Like it feels very 80s to me.
I feel like that's always Miami though, and like,
yeah, and that could be the setting.
And that's what made it so like, I mean, I feel like Scarface was the reason that, Miami it's kind of like that 80s neon light city. It's,
That's a good point though, Jimmy. That's probably why he picked Miami as a setting. With Martin and Will Smith, you could have put them anywhere. New York, LA, Vegas, Chicago. They picked Miami and for his style, for his look, I guess.
Yeah, it just feels very 80s. Like you get the slow motion running, the slow motion fighting, the essentially the execution where it's like the slow motion of the pillow feathers flying around, and you get the guitar in the background, near, and you're like, what is happening? This is not 95. This is like 87 right now. This is they don't match up 100%. So I guess let's speak before we get into reviews and kind of everything else. The Running Solo Award. What won this for you for this movie? What's one thing that stands out that you're like, this is what wins?
The chemistry between two young comedic stars rising up in Martin Lawrence and Will Smith. I think that's, I mean, this put him on a path, a trajectory. Well, especially Smith, I think they've got great chemistry. And that's the special thing I like about buddy cops. For some reason, there's never like anytime buddy cop movies are casted, they always seem to work real well together, chemistry wise. And I think they've got incredible chemistry in this movie.
That's my thoughts exactly. The whole point of this movie was the dynamic between Will Smith and Martin Lawrence was incredible. And like I said, for two stars that were up and coming, stars of their own shows, to both do this and literally feed off each other perfectly. It was great.
Yeah, I picked Will Smith. I mean, this kick started a lot for him because he went from here to Independence Day and Men in Black, and
all
that really
back
catapulted him.
95, 96, and 97.
Yo, what's crazy? As you say, Will Smith, it's funny. It showed how much of a star Will Smith could be, and it showed how much of a star Martin could be as a co-star.
Yeah,
Will Smith didn't need Martin. Martin needed, and career-wise, if you look at anything Martin's done, he's always had a good, besides his show, anything he's done, he's always had a good cast with him. He needed a co-star. Will Smith didn't. So
he's always done those movies where he's sort of like that action, like second person almost, it felt like, because I can't remember that. I can picture the posters, but like he was in like Nothing to Lose in 97 alongside, I think, Tim Robbins was.
Yep.
And then he went on to do like Big Mama's House, but he went and he did National Security as well.
He's on.
Yep.
So
he was kind of like that duo. Like he never went
solo,
whole leading man, know.
And
Black Knight.
It was
Black Knight.
Yep. Black Knight, the classic.
Dude, Black Knight's super funny.
No, that's a 90s comedy that was an 80s comedy, okay? That was bad. That was greatly bad.
Black
so
Knight
let's get
awesome.
I'm going to read some reviews. I grabbed one review, one good, one bad, just to have some stuff. And I believe I took these off of either IMDb or Rotten Tomato, but the good review, Sean Monroe, if you're out there, kudos. A surprisingly well-aged mid-90s action classic boosted by both its central two-hander and Bay's commitment to kinetic carnage. I liked that review because I think it just kind of hit. It gave a very nice way of saying Michael Bay just likes to blow shit up. Kinetic carnage. I like that. It's a good little one. Let's move over to a bad. Sheila Johnston. You may rest assured that whenever a glass object hooves into view, it will be shattered in slow motion by the end of the scene.
Yes.
You're not wrong. But Rotten Tomatoes, it was kind of all over the place. The audience gave it a 78%, and the critics gave it a 43%.
Yeah, critics were not nice for this.
Now, this was not super, super loved, but we got into the cast and crew a little bit. I mean, anything else to say about Will Smith's kind of trajectory? This really is what I think kickstarted it, because he just was on fire for a while.
And, you know, it's so funny because, yeah, he had that huge trajectory, but he was also a supporting member in all three of those movies. I mean, he was great with Jeff Goldblum and Bill Pullman in Independence Day, and then he had great chemistry with Tommy Lee Jones in Men in Black. And then he kind of became a full-fledged, like, he could, you know, carry it by himself as well.
Enemy of the State, where did that fall into it?
That was 98. So, yeah, so back-to-back, back-to-back.
Oh, and I'm surprised he made it out alive from Wild Wild West. That could have gone either way.
Well, here's a huge thing. I'm surprised he did survive, because do you know what role he turned down for Wild Wild West? Neo.
Yeah, The Matrix.
The Matrix.
He says he fucked that up so bad. He's like,
would have been huge.
And it's funny because Jada Pinkett's in it in the second one.
Yeah.
You know?
But he went on, like, he did take, I don't want to say a break, but he did a little bit of stuff after Wild Wild West. But really, that came out in 99. But you saw him come back in 2001 in Ali. And that kind of, I think, took him from, like, he went and still did all these action movies, but it showed he could do that dramatic style comedy stuff too. So he went on, obviously did iRobot, Hitch, Pursuit of Happiness, which I think is probably one of my favorites.
Dude, I fucking love iRobot. Yeah. That don't get enough love.
No,
Legend of Bagger Vance with Matt Damon.
Yeah. And, I Am Legend, Hancock, which again was, this streak of 2000s, I think is comparable to his 90s, because he went and did 06, Pursuit of Happiness, I Am Legend 07, Hancock 08, and then 7 Pounds in 08 as well. Which
Concussion. When was Concussion? When was Concussion?
That was a little bit later on, I think. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, he went on a tear, and obviously he's kind of gone back into his like hole a little bit. But yeah, Concussion was 15. But yeah, this took him off into new heights. Now, Martin Lawrence, we kind of talked about, he did more of those duo style movies, and he didn't really play the leading role as much. I don't know how dramatic he can really get, but so let's get into our real talk segment. We're going to kind of walk through the chapters and just kind of bullshit on the scenes a little bit while we work our way through this movie. But we kind of get our introductions in that first part where we're introduced to Mike Lowrey and Marcus Bennett. They're held up at gunpoint by Tiggs from Sons of Anarchy, who I had no idea was in this movie until I saw this.
He looked the same. Look. He plays the same asshole.
I was like, did we put this movie in a time machine? Because that's just Tiggs from Sons. But we can tell from this initial introduction that Marcus is the overwhelmed family man, and he's not getting any, which he's made it abundantly clear that he's not getting any. And then Mike is sort of the player who, quote unquote, doesn't know where his lips have been. So there's like a clear contrast between the two characters.
And you learn that right away. They give that to you in 5 minutes.
Yeah, they spoon feed that thing to you. They immediately are sort of called to the police station, where we learn that there's been a hijacking of their career $100 million heroin bust. And we got to get introduced to Sanchez and Ruiz, who are sort of the rival cops. They're not really a big player in this movie, but you do see that there's this playful banter amongst the two duos. And then we're kind of told that Marcus and Mike Lowrey need to go do what you do, but only faster. So that kind of sets us off into the movie.
So it shows they could be good cops, even though you don't see, like you alluded to earlier, you see a lot of bad cop work, but clearly they're not bad. They don't have a bad history.
Yeah, I mean, they did something right. They got the $100 million heroin bust. I don't know how, based off of what we see them do, but that's kind of that. The investigation, this is sort of our chapter 2 of this, is where we kind of see Mike and Marcus hunt down the criminals. We're introduced to a whole bunch of people. We're introduced to JoJo, we're introduced to Maxine, and we're just given that hilarious scene of Martin Lawrence can't lift weights, and he can't punch this bag, he can't punch that bag. He's getting choked out by the bench press because that's just...
for no reason.
Yeah, sure, that's there. They break into the house. Okay, so this is where I first started being like, maybe they're not the best cops, because that's not going to hold up in court. Oh no, I tripped and fell and accidentally pushed the door open. I guess they want us to come in. That one was like a little...
And it's crazy. They did that stupid thing, but the cop worked to get them that point. Let's find out who set up the ventilation system.
Right?
If this much drugs, they're gonna need to move it. Let's go to the chemist. If someone has this much drugs, they're gonna want to throw a party. Let's go to the escort girl that might be getting phone calls. So they did great investigating.
Yeah.
But then stupid shit like.
But this is where we get the pretty famous stuff. The "Don't be alarmed, we're Negroes," doing the absolute worst white impression about asking if they have brown sugar or something like that. And then we cut right into a Martin Lawrence fart joke, because that was fitting for the script, I guess. And they go on to absolutely decimate this crime scene with all of their DNA and evidence, touching everything, moving the dead body, removing the knife, and then...
no gloves,
no backup, no nothing. They don't call anybody. Martin Lawrence says he's going to call somebody because he's a narcotics cop and not a homicide, but they proceed to not call homicide. They just touch the body some more. But they kind of get out of there, and we get the little Bad Boys sing along off tune. Next up is Party Gone Wrong. This is sort of where we're introduced to Julie, the out-of-work photographer who can't cook. So she's not a quote-unquote working woman, aka hooker, but she comes along for the ride anyways, which I got really confused in this part. I got confused that the girl that got killed was the girl from the gym, Max. It took me a couple watch-throughs to like put those two together, because they introduced her in a gym setting, and then they have her as essentially a prostitute, is what I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's what an escort is.
So, like, I thought that was like a gym owner or something. I just didn't piece the two of them together.
Speaking of that, like I said, she wanted to bring Julie with her. Do hookers just recruit other hookers like that? Like,
right? Yeah, like,
she's
I
not
have this friend,
part of the
she's
service.
cool.
Like,
yeah,
I'm going to a party. You want to join us for a couple thousand? Like,
yeah. Like, was Julie getting paid, or was this just like I don't know. But the one thing I was kind of a little confused with as well too is she took the job for money, but in the next scene it was a favor to Mike Lowrey. It didn't really. I didn't know why she was here. Was she here for Lowrey to get like intel, or was this just her taking a job?
Could have been both, but
yeah, like
they don't really break it down.
They didn't show like Mike asking her, for like in that sense that I took through it. But surprise, the dope party goes wrong. The guy that's just snorting heroin and hanging out with prostitutes, there's no way this isn't going to end wrong.
And listen, I'm not trying to say I know drugs or nothing like that, but heroin's not really a party drug. That is a sniff and zombie Walking Dead. Yeah. You don't sniff heroin and go, yeah. People sniff heroin and go, you get zombified. That's not a party drug.
There was a couple, yeah, I mean, that's one of them in the scene. The other thing in the scene that really threw me off, that they used a pillow as a silencer, which really isn't going to silence anything. But then in the next moment, just shoot the other guy with no silencer. Because they shoot Max with the pillow as she's like facing the other way. And then the guy that was doing the drugs, stole the drugs from the heist, got just blasted with like a shotgun or something. And that's when we got the slow motion. We got the 80s guitar riffs, and we kind of enter almost a chase scene where they see Julie up top, and she jumps off the roof into a pool and gets away. A very high roof. No damage done. Mike sees if it's, they come to the scene and they see that it's Max, and Mike just kind of goes his separate ways and leaves Marcus to work on the phones by himself, where he's kind of double fisting the phones. We get into another hilarious little conversation where he's yelling to one person while still trying to talk to his wife. The wife thinks he's yelling at him. You couldn't just kind of like hang up or put it on hold, or
more bad copping. From what I know from movies, I don't know no real cops, but from movies, if you're that close to someone in the case, they take you off the case.
Yeah.
His friend was someone that got murdered, and his boss told him, "So you knew the girl, huh? Yeah. All right, hurry up. that was it. No, I'm sorry for your loss. No, so you knew the girl, huh? That's fine.
Yep.
I'm gonna go off on my own. Yeah. No.
You gonna find the guys now or what? This is when Julie calls the police station and only wants to talk to Mike. I put it in my notes. What witness is this? What kind of person is like, I fear for my life. I will only work with this one guy who I do not know. These are my demands. Meet them or I run. It's like, what? The fuck do you think you are?
You called them.
Like, yeah. So this is where we enter the undercover, quote, be like Mike. This is where Martin Lawrence attempts to just be like Mike Lowrey for the whole movie. I don't know. I found this part just completely unnecessary to drag on as long as it did. No, like, police chief officer or captain in their right mind puts them up to this, because the captain is the one, I think that's Joe Pantaleones or whatever it is.
Pantaleano? Captain Conrad?
Yeah.
Ralph Cifaretto.
He's the one that's like, no, you are Mike Lowrey. Talk to her. And Emily's like, no, talk more like Mike. Stop. Sound more like Mike. It's like, the fuck do you think I am, man? I'm a cop. Like, not a fucking personal impersonation. Like, I can't do this. But, like, what police officer does that? Puts you up to, like, that for until the case is solved? Like, how long did he expect them to string this along?
Like, at first, like, when he did it in the precinct, I was okay. I could see a boss going, act like him just to get her here. Get
on the phone.
Yeah, that's different. But then on top of that, when he goes to meet her, I have it in my notes, like, they're literally, he has an out. When I had to rewind it. When, she tries to hit him with the bat, when he goes over there, he's like, I'm leaving. And she starts getting all emotional. She's like, you don't understand. I saw the whole thing and all that bullshit. Right there was his out to go, I understand. That's crazy. Like, look, I'm Marcus. I'm Mike's best friend. I get it. I know he meant a lot to her. Like, right there.
Done. Yep.
The out was right there. When she calmed down for him not, in her head being Lowrey. She said, there was a moment for him to go, you're right, I'm not him. But I care about him like you cared about her. That's why I'm here. That's right there.
No, so he goes over to her place. So I'm this, I'm that. She starts swinging a bat. And the bad guys show up. They start blasting. He takes her. They get in the car and drive off to Mike's place. The guys, he makes it a point to say that the guys saw the license plate so they can kind of track down his address and stuff. So that's why they go to Mike's place. This dude doesn't warn his family. He's about a whole family, man. Doesn't tell his family that the cops and like doesn't send anybody over there. Besides the fact that there's no fucking chance that this guy saw their license plate. Like, no chance. This shouldn't, again, unnecessary storyline. Like, it's dark, it's nighttime, the back license plate's not lit up. There's a guy very far in the distance. He's not even close enough to shoot him. There's no way he's reading the license plate. And then on top
of that, it's a station wagon. Do you really think the cops, that's his personal car?
Yeah.
Or you just jump in a car? Like,
but either way, he brings her over to his place. He starts knocking over stuff, tripping on, quote unquote, tripping on shit I know is here. Like, it's just so poorly portraying this character that, like, I get it. Like, I just can't believe that Julie believed this. I can't buy that she bought it. Like, there's no chance. So we kind of enter that next chapter of getting the dope back. The captain, like Jimmy mentioned, he was just watching the scene. The captain's shooting ball, and he's just missing
cigar in his mouth.
So he's like he's in like day 3 of like having. I'm not sure timeline wise, but I think it's probably been a couple days since $100 million of heroin was stolen from your precinct, and you're just smoking and playing basketball. Like,
I mean, he was making them all before they got in there.
Yeah, of course. But like, this dude puts them on the case, knows how much shit they're going through, and homie's just over here fucking ripping darts and playing basketball like nothing's going on. Like, just no care in the world. He tries to act like he cares that the place is going to get shut down later on, but clearly does not. Mike is the only witness, so Mike here learns that the only witness is staying at his apartment. And Mike has to go stay with Marcus's family to keep them safe, I guess, a couple days later after the fact. But we kind of get a bunch of gay jokes because Mike's apartment's like pictures of himself for some reason. And Marcus has to say that, like, oh no, this is my cop partner. Every time he saves my life, they put a picture up. It's a cop thing. Like, again, more stuff that Julie should be like, okay, something's up here. This is not like accurate at all. Nothing lines up. Like,
yeah, it makes Julie look real stupid.
Yeah, yeah. And we get,
and I don't know. To be serious, she looks like an idiot.
And this scene has nothing to do with the storyline, but I put notes on it anyways. I put bologna scene ? When he's like, Marcus is eating a sandwich and Julie is just like disgusted with bologna. He's like, that's not bologna, it's just flesh. It's like, it's not flesh.
Can I eat the pickle? How about the pickle?
Yeah. No, too salty? Dip my pickle in the soda. Like, but like, fuck off. It's not flesh. It's not skin. I know it's a bunch of random meats and organs mashed together. It's like a garbage meat. I know it's the dumpster of like meats, but it's not flesh. It's not just skin. I don't know. I don't like Julie. She's annoying. We kind of go to the Club Hell showdown, and I put quotations, this is Michael Bay. This is where like we get
Speaking of Club Hell, you have a guy that just stole 100 kilos of heroin from the police, and his fucking hideout is a club.
Right? He's like, come and get me. You know where I'll be.
He's above a club. Like, that's his getaway. That's his hideout. Come on.
When they were leaving, or it was either leaving or arriving at the apartment in this area, Chet called Marcus Mr. Lowrey, and then he called Mike Lowrey Mr. Lowrey. It's like, Chet, you know who Mike Lowrey is. Like, what? Yeah, God, Chet, you're the worst. Like, he's like playing along with it, but like calling them both Mr. Lowrey. Like, if you're playing along with it, you would have called Marcus Mr. Lowrey and Mike Marcus. Oh. You wouldn't have called them both Mr. Lowrey. And he had this dumb, confused look. He's like, hello, Mr. Lowrey. Hello, Mr. Lowrey. Like, you just blew up their spot. If Julie was there, she would have. I'd like to say she would have caught on, but like everything else up.
What's funny? His name was Chet. Speaking of that name, on a side note, has anybody ever met a Chet before? Do you know a person named Chet who looks at a baby and goes, "Oh my God,
Chet"? Chet's the name.
Look at little Chet. Who named their kid Chet?
Chaz.
Yeah, Chaz Michaels.
Has anyone ever met a guy named Chaz?
No, that I will die on the hill that's a fake name. That's a name just for movie scripts. But Club Hell, we arrived at Club Hell, and it's just open candles. Like, we talked about Will Smith passing up on The Matrix, but this reminds me of like The
Crow.
It reminds me of the party scenes in The Matrix when they go to what is the name of like their like
Zion?
Yeah, this reminds me of like a Zion party. This is such like a 90s like 80s like vampire movie. Like,
I was gonna say it's like something, but I wanted to see like a Blade cameo or some stupid shit like.
Yeah, it looks like Blade, Lost Boys, like
Deacon
everything.
Frost would never have candles.
But they're just kind of fucking around. The bad guy's up in like the super, it's not even VIP, but it's like the manager's office essentially. They see Marcus from across the building through dirty glass in a crowded room.
With girls dancing and fucking fish tanks everywhere for no fucking reason.
No chance. Yeah, the fish tank. So let's talk about the bathroom a little bit here.
Yeah, there's a fish tank in a bathroom.
So you can see so the wall of the men's bathroom is a fish tank.
And the fish tank's like all foggy and gross.
It's all shitty. The bathrooms are disgusting. The urinal is full of piss. Like orange piss. Like it looks like pennies.
The bathroom was like a dive bar's bathroom, but this is a fucking nightclub.
This is the grossest bathroom I've ever seen in my entire life. It's disgusting. And they put the guy's head in there. I wanted to throw up. Like, they had the fight scene. Like, he like smashes his head on it. Like,
it looks like the Saw bathroom with a fish tank in it.
I would rather go to bathroom in the Saw bathroom with the dead Jigsaw in the floor than go take a shit at Club Hell. That is my hell. My hell is going to the bathroom at Club Hell.
And why didn't Marcus think anything was weird when the biker guy literally goes to the urinal right next to him too? You don't do that.
Why is he even in the bathroom? They're supposed to be there looking for people. He goes to the bathroom and Will Smith's getting a lap dance. Like, what the fuck are we doing here?
And then Marcus immediately gets his ass kicked. Gets like the plastic bag over his head.
And then Will Smith comes in at the very end after. He's like, oh, did you need help? He's like, yeah, dude, we're getting the fuck out because this was a bad idea. Like, we definitely didn't think this through. But before they can get out, Julie, once again being the worst person in the world, just shows up with a gun in the middle of a club and is aiming up through the window again. And again, those people are up there and they're like, that's the girl that saw us kill. It's like, again, no chance you know who this girl is. You saw in the very beginning a sliver of this girl through like a wall. You chased her upstairs and she jumped off a building. There is zero chance you know what she looks like, let alone pick her out of a crowded room. No chance. Not buying it. Sorry, I'm just not. But she goes to take this little pistol and shoot it. And before she goes to shoot, they don't like knock it up so she shoots it in the air. They knock it like sideways. She absolutely shot somebody. Like, she definitely, there's some bystander at the bar who's like waiting for his like Jack and Coke who just got blasted in the temple because he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. That poor bastard got murdered by Julie, and there's no repercussions.
Or it's probably me waiting 45 minutes for like a Narragansett. Just like some really shitty beer. Just like, it's just about to get handed to me.
How long on that PBR?
Yeah, right?
It's like that, and I imagine that dude being like, he's got like a 2-year-old at home. He like, this is his first time to go out. He's been waiting for this night. And like, he's been all week long just getting ready, getting the right clothes, the perfect cologne. He's getting his first drink, and here comes Julie and just fucking blasts him in the temple, and he's just gone in club hell. Way to go, buddy. Way to go. So, Jesus.
Keep going. This gets better. Better.
Oh, it gets better? Is this when they steal the ice cream truck that's full of ether? That's when it gets better? It gets better not only when they're in the ether truck. This is when Julie decides to ask, why are we running away? You're cops. Like, bitch, there's 2 of us. There's like 1,000. There's 100 of them. And we don't even fucking know who they are. Like, what?
I just got attacked in a bathroom, okay?
Yeah. Like, have you ever had your head smashed to the urinal at Club Hell? No.
Club Hell.
But yeah, so they get
names he could have come up with. That was in the writer's room. That's what stuck.
Club Hell. Then, like I said, we're gonna make them jump in a car that's gonna have a whole lot of explosives. No, not a car. Maybe a truck. No, what kind of truck? Dude, an ice cream truck.
Of course.
Because they're doing an ether delivery at Club Hell on the middle of what looks like a weekend night. Very under the radar for people that just stole $100 million worth of heroin. Oh, man. But yes, of course, there's explosions because this is Michael Bay. So we get to this next little chapter, the jig's up. There's the Channel 5 news chopper. This is where we start to see the story of the not split personality, but the copycat Freaky Friday scenarios start to play out, where the children at Martin's house, for whatever reason, see that his dad's on the news, like looking at the helicopter. But there's a couple other little mini scenes before like the story gets kind of unraveled. You get the super random angry Middle Eastern convenience store clerk. Like, why was this a scene? I killed before, I kill again. Like, he just pulls a gun on them for coming into the store.
Badges? I have badges. 2 for 5. 2 for 5.
Freeze, mother bitch. Like, why is this even a scene? I was like, I thought, did I miss something? Like, no, this was just how he reacted when they came into the store, I guess. I don't know if I missed anything or not. I don't think I did, because it just seemed pretty out of place. But
7-Elevens were becoming real big in Indian stores, and I have no fucking idea. I'm trying to justify it. I was trying to take it somewhere. I got nothing.
They just needed some fun racism. It was the 90s. They could find, like, they were almost out of, like, racism is funny in movies still. Like, they had to get the last couple bunches in there. The next stuff, like, The whole
keep going.
Wait. When we go to the apartment, Nick, when we go to the apartment and there's just a random naked girl in the apartment.
That was earlier, so I sort of skipped over that with the
She was a prostitute, right?
She massages shit.
Right. That's right.
Like you threw her out. You threw her out when she was naked. It's like, yeah, her titties were out. It's like, she wasn't naked. Her titties were not out. She was in lingerie. You fucking liar.
Back to the house.
But we get to the part where Mike is still at Marcus's house. Marcus is over there, and he calls his wife or whatever, and he hears, them talking about the scrapbook. Like, I don't know.
Where they like Martin Lawrence looks like he went to like Arrow Party and got like a 70s hippie outfit. Like, he's still like that's supposed to be him at like 18. He looks the fucking same.
Yeah. Just him with a photoshopped afro, like giant afro. But he thinks that Mike is sleeping with his wife. Your best friend, you just have lost your mind in the last 2 days. But Marcus's wife kind of catches on to this later on, and she shows up at Mike's house. And what'd you think was happening? A giant orgy? No, like
I see what you think.
No one thought that.
He comes out with the no shirt on, and he half naked, and
we got the white girl.
Yo, speaking of that scene, when the bad guys, like you're about to say, when the bad guys show up, because the bad guys find an apartment. Why don't they just kill Julie right there? What?
Point blank.
Why? My wife put down her drink because we were drinking. She's like, the movie ends right here. They have her.
Like, you would think so, right?
Just kill the witness.
That was the whole point. That was the whole point of all this, was to get to Julie and kill her. And you got her, and you did not kill her.
It's like those memes where it's just like, what if this happened in the movie? And the movie would just end right there. It's like written and directed by Michael Bay.
That mind boggles me out of everything. Then you made me notice a lot of stupid shit I didn't notice, Nick.
Yeah.
But the fact they didn't kill Julie when they got her. The bad guys won. They got her.
Game over. They win, you lose. Sorry, Julie. That's what you get for killing, Joe Schmo at Club Hell. But yeah, so she comes over, and then this whole scene is this is another like 80s-ish like feel. When the bad guys show up, it's like these slow motion gunshots, point blank. Nobody's hit. Nobody gets shot. No good guys, no bad guys. They grab Julie and they're running, and Will Smith decides to chase the car on foot. Slow motion running, fast car. Slow motion running, fast car. Pretty much shirtless. I saw that Will Smith refused to do the scene shirtless, but he was okay with having it like just barely draped over him.
Wait. They wanted him to be shirtless?
They wanted him to be shirtless, and he refused.
Why?
I do not know. This fits into like this is probably a better... I feel like this should have been that 80s movie. There's so much 80s into it. You should have just leaned so hard into this as 80s. But in that little chase scene, who made this chase scene? You go through a photo shoot. You go through old white ladies getting their hair done at a salon. And then you run into a handicapped basketball team dribbling down the fucking sidewalk. This seemed like a Family Guy shtick. Like, this was like...
It's like Ferris Bueller when he's trying to get back, like he races back to get home.
Yeah. It's like you put like 100 ridiculous ideas in like a bucket and you just pulled 3 random ones out. Like, okay, we can make this work. Like, I'm surprised.
Give me handicap basketball team. Okay.
Yeah.
And photo shoot. We're going to.
I need nuns.
All right.
Yeah, we got it. Can we get nuns down here? No. Is there a 37 cats we could use as like a cat show? Like, no, that's taken. It's like, okay. Alrighty. But now we're kind of brought into the last little chapter where we're just kind of do your thing. They got this guy, Fletcher, who's coming in to hack. Supposedly it was the secretary the whole time, which, I mean, kind of seemed very guilty every single time she was on screen.
I can't get in. I can't get in.
Can't access. I have no access. Sorry. It's like such a like, I mean, you saw it from a mile away. How everybody else didn't see it, I don't know. But they decided to call in and bring the SWAT team. Bring everyone. I don't know where they have to go, though. The fuck's the point of calling me then? Don't call me. Give me a destination to go. They bring her to a hangar where everything you need is there. The cash is there, the drugs are there, the witness is there, the plane is there, the ether is there. Like the entire storyline of the last 2 hours is in this little mini hangar for some reason. There's a garbage truck, gunfight, more slow motion, the classic Bad Boys, what I call swirling shot, where it's just kind of the camera rotates at a low angle around them. More explosions, there's a fire, there's a guy falling off platforms, and they are hiding behind propane tanks in the gunfight. A lot of just whys in this fight. Why did Julie get out of the handcuffs, get into the car? Why didn't she drive away? Instead, she drives it into the propane tank or the ether to blow everything up. Like,
how about the drug dealer that came to buy all the drugs? That stereotypical Cuban or Colombian drug, that fucking guy from Narcos.
More subtle racism, you know. But yeah, so she just drives away. This is one of my favorite lines. You forgot your boarding pass, and then he just shoots the guy, and the guy flies like across the screen on fire. Like absurd. They turn the chase scene into this game of chicken. The guy smashes his car into this giant cement thing. There's no chance he's alive. Like 0% chance. There's no way this guy slams headfirst into the wall and isn't just immediately turned into fucking spaghetti. They pull him out. They don't pat him down. They don't handcuff him. And then they turn their back on the bad guy, who inevitably pulls a gun, and then Will Smith just murders him a lot. Murders him super hard.
You can't shoot that many times without getting in trouble.
Right? Like, he was egging on him the whole time to, like, you don't have the balls, kill me, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, lo and behold, he did. That's kind of where we went through all the chapters. There was more scenes that we really had to talk about. There was scenes that I wanted to talk about that didn't really have much to do with the storyline, but that's that. So let's get into our segments a little bit. So Diaz, what are we stacking up here with Bad Boys?
Well, buddy cops, we got to go. I'll say two. Jimmy had mentioned one of them earlier. These cops, they showed idioticness, but they showed some good cops because they did get the case done. They got the kilos before this case. Let's stack this up against two cop franchises. We're going to do Rush Hour,
okay,
and 21 Jump Street. Action, comedic. Who were the better cops? Was it Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker, Will Smith and Martin, or Tatum and Jonah Hill? Who are the better cops? I don't know.
I feel like all three of those groups were terrible in their own way, so this is going to be interesting.
All right, so if I put them on a list of like 1 through 6, Jackie Chan is a great cop. It's Chris Tucker that brings him down, right? So like, he's the number 1 seed. I would say Jonah Hill. He's Schmidt, I think, right?
Yeah.
I forget, but I would say he's 2. I think he kind of...
Well, yeah, because
he was by the book.
He was academically really good because he was the one who helps Django pass all the tests, and Django helps him get in better shape. And
yeah. So I would have him up there at 2. Now, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are an absolute crapshoot, right? I mean, supposedly Will Smith and Martin Lawrence are good cops. I mean, they did the initial bust that acquired the $100 million. So I'd probably have to say one of them is in there. I would put Martin Lawrence. I'd put Martin Lawrence, and then I would put Janko, and then I'd put Will Smith, and then I'd put Chris Tucker at the very bottom.
You think Chris Tucker's the worst out of all of them?
Yeah, dude.
I think Janko's the worst.
I think Janko is the worst. I honestly, it's weird to say it because Nick, you did it how I would do it because Jackie Chan's the best cop. The second would be Schmidt. But Tucker and Janko are so bad at being cops.
He doesn't even know his Miranda rights.
I think the best duo would have to be Martin and Will Smith because of that.
Did you just say you have the right to be an attorney?
Technically, he has the right to be an attorney. You have the right to shut the fuck up.
Lawrence and Smith are mediocre cops. None of them are good. None of them are horrific. But the other two teams have a horrible fucking cop in each group.
Yeah.
So I would have to say, I guess Bad Boys are the better cops, but
as a duo, it's tough because you have like both 21 and Rush Hour have like the best of all of them, but the averages drop because of the second partner.
Lee always bailed Carter out.
That's what I'm saying.
Like in the massage parlor in Rush Hour 2.
There was no aspect of how Tucker was Ricky a good cop and anything.
His hairy, stinky beads.
The third one with the you, him, who, you. No, I know who he is. Who are you? I am you. No, you stop. Like, yeah, Tucker's an idiot cop. Like I would say because of law of averages, I would have to say Martin and Will Smith are the best cops out of the three. And we don't know what cases have Schmidt and Jenko done. Like,
the HFS, the holy fucking shit tab.
But is that a bigger bust than 100 kilos?
I don't know about that. I think Bad Boys, I think they might have to take it as the best duo, even though I am inclined to give it to Rush Hour just based off of how good Lee is.
Okay, and then the other side to the stack, I think I had another one. I just want to make sure I don't mess it up. My other stack was going to be, could they solve each other's cases?
I think they'd pull through.
Like, who would you want to solve? Okay, like,
who would you pick to solve?
Like, is Lee and Carter getting that 100 kilos back?
Yeah, well, that's tough because I mean he is, but I feel like one of his benefits, right, is his connections with like the triads and all of his stuff. Kind of has to deal with that world. I'm curious how he'd be on a case that isn't involved with his world.
Jimmy, I just thought of what if Jackie Chan had to act like Carter for a witness?
Oh boy!
Or what? How would they have done that?
What decade is this movie being shot in? I don't know if we can get away with that one today.
So, like, could Carter be black, or would Carter have to be Asian? Like,
well, Carter's always using the.
And I guess 21 Jump Street, they did that though. In the second one, they had to play each other because they fucked up the assignments, didn't they?
Yep.
They
did. I thought that was the first one because Rob Riggle plays the gym teacher.
Yeah,
and that's when he has to go in the track meet.
Yeah. So they kind of did that already. So yeah. So Carter and Lee are getting the 100 kilos back?
I think so. Yeah. I think they can get the job done.
What about Jenko and Smith?
They took down the whole underground world of the high school with the holy fucking shit tabs.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, all three teams will kind of get the job done. It's just a matter of like how much wreckage do they cause while doing it.
Which captain gets pissed off the most?
Ice Cube.
Or...
Yeah. Oh yeah. Ice Cube is. Oh yes. Anything. He's the most pissed off of everything.
Who's the toughest captain to work for? There you go.
Yeah.
So let's get into our quote corner real quick. So Jimmy, why don't you kick us off? I'm very interested to see what your quotes are for this movie because I got two that I really like.
I pulled up one.
Two that are funny. One's very, very inappropriate, but I had to point it out.
I got the one with Marcus talking about the Porsche. And he's like, "You're damn right, it's limited. No cup holder, no backseat, just a shiny ass with two with two chains. And I guess the ball's just dragging the shit along."
I mean, I loved the freeze mother bitch.
Yeah,
it's just so stupid. But the other one, the fat old henchman when he was talking to Julie while she was like locked in the car.
Oh yeah,
I'll scratch whatever you want, you blue-eyed bitch. Who wrote this? Who wrote that line? I was like, yeah, that's a good one right there. But surprisingly, yeah, I didn't really have. I mean, I'm sure I could find quotes from. There was a lot of quotes that I liked in the scene of Mike and Marcus when Julie didn't know one was the other yet, and they have the little dog over there, and they're like, "Oh, he's having diarrhea in the room. Great." He's like, "Oh yeah, I was gonna throw that rug out anyways. I was just gonna get a new one." But D, what's your quotes from this movie?
My when he's complaining about the way Martin's driving, and he's like, "What? You don't like the way I drive? I'll drive us off a fucking cliff. We be some two dead motherfuckers right now. Keep fucking with me." that and like the whole all the quotes from when he was trying to explain to his wife. I know what it looked like, the white girl, and he half butt naked, and it looked ain't no fucking going on right now. We ain't doing that thing.
That was a good one. I like these. It's a pretty quotable movie, I'd say.
Hold on. I don't want to upset our fans. I have to recant my quote and redo it. You damn right it's limited. No cup holder, no back seat, just a shiny dick with 2 chairs in it. I guess we the balls just dragging the fuck along. There we go.
I think that one takes it. That one takes it. All right, so let's get into our stop it. What scenes made you stop this movie? The good, the bad, and the ugly. So good, obviously some good stuff. So let's get into that first. So whoever wants to kick this off, let me see. And we don't have to go scenes. This can be themes or aspects of the movie that made it as a good, a bad, and the ugly.
Who? For me, I feel like the buddy cop genre was huge in the 80s. It worked so well. And not even, you still have Beverly Hills Cop, Lethal Weapon, etc. I've already mentioned that. Even Turner and Hooch. And that was a huge like staple of like the 80s. And it's nice to see that, at this point in time, it kind of got revamped. And, we did see more of the more serious sides leading up to this film with like Point Break, even Heat. It's not a buddy cop film, but like, the police crime solving movies became like a serious thing again. So it's nice to see it. That's my good is Michael Bay did kind of revamp it made it relevant again.
Yeah. I just put as my good, I put just the chemistry between the two. Yeah. This is sort of an unknown. We mentioned that they originally wanted Arsenio Hall, but I think Michael Bay really got this right by bringing in Will Smith to team up with Martin Lawrence because their chemistry is unmatched. That is a shining moment in this movie. I know we took, we kind of tore it up a little bit. It's more in fun than anything. I can like ridiculous scenarios and not hate, but the chemistry works between the two. You believe that they are, buddies and they can kind of mess around with each other and you understand the history amongst them.
Well, speaking of that, let me give you a little more just because of the chemistry and stuff. So like, obviously there was a couple of castings before, right? There was, Arsenio Hall was considered for it. Then you have Wesley Snipes, Eddie Murphy. Well, dude, this would have been outrageous. So first of all, this goes back a while back. The original title for this movie was called Bulletproof Hearts and was written for Dana Carvey and John Lovitz.
Okay, that was what I was thinking of earlier when I said yeah.
Dude, John Lovitz in an action movie? I'm there today. Do it now.
Yeah. So Diaz, after you do your good, I want to present to you what I think would have been the good in this movie had they gone the route that I think would have made this for more fun.
My good is kind of like what you guys said, but to a little bit different aspect. I love the chemistry between Will Smith and Martin, but the best thing about it is I didn't want it to stop, whether it was their action scenes or their comedy scenes. Their comedy was not over the top. Their comedy wasn't movie comedy. Their comedy was friend comedy. You want to talk about the buddy aspect. I believe that they fucking were friends for life. The way that they did their interactions with each other was like us arguing with each other, like us fucking with each other. Like, you know what I mean? Just that's what I liked about it. They took the straight buddy cop and literally made them real fucking buddies, not actors trying to be buddies. I felt they were buddies.
Yeah. So what I think would have made this movie a little bit more dynamic and interesting, and it wouldn't have spawned a whole franchise, but it would have gone into the whole aspect of Bad Boys. I think this movie would have benefited with a twist of Will Smith is actually the guy that was behind the hijacking of the heroin. I think this would have played a lot more. You wouldn't have had that scapegoat of the secretary, just kind of like a nothing story. You would have had that true, like, at the end of the movie, that Martin Lawrence, like, internal struggle of, like,
taking on his boy,
friend or job. Like, what do we do? Like, I think that would have introduced a fun aspect to this movie that was kind of missing. It would have added a little bit more mystery. It would have added a lot more tension and more stakes. I think that they could have gone down that road, because there's times where, you look at this movie where Will Smith sort of breaks away from Martin and like doesn't show the care that Martin clearly shows back to him. I have the movie in the background where we're back in the Club Hell scene where like Martin's doing the job. Mike's just nonchalant. Like he just
looking
chilling.
At the strippers. Just.
Yep. He's just chilling. So like it kind of would have like played into that. Like at the end of it, you would have been like, oh, now I see why Mike was like really not taking anything serious. He really was just kind of like walking through the motions, and Martin was the one getting his hands dirty.
It's funny you say that because you haven't seen the sequels.
Yeah, so I'll have to jump in and see what happens
in
there.
Part, like, it's not what you said, but you could see the seriousness, like the seriousness and the not seriousness of both cops in the second one. Like Marcus is trying to really take his job serious, and Will Smith's getting more and more cocky and outrageous. You see more of that in the second one. You see Martin like, yo, come on, man. What the fuck? Like, you see that. It grows. Their relationship grows through the movies.
All right. The bad. What do we got for the bad in this?
Oh, boy.
You had to pick one.
Oh, I kind of want to... Maybe this is tough because the bad and the ugly kind of go hand in hand. So I kind of... Maybe I want to... Diaz, do you have one? Because maybe I'll save mine for...
Oh, mine's Club Hell, bro. You don't have a fucking drug kingpin with 100 kilos having his hideout on top of the club. You don't do that. Nobody does that. And that whole... I like that scene, but I don't like that scene because stop it. Like you said, Nick, the disgustingness of that bathroom. The fucking fish tank in the bathroom. Like I said, their hideout, they're wanted by police. They're looking for drugs. They have ether getting delivered to the fucking club. Why does the club need ether?
Right, yeah. Like
if they're
it's out front. It's not in the loading dock. It's not out back. It's parked out front.
If they're going to get a legit delivery, you don't have it in an ice cream truck because why does Club Hell have ice cream?
Yep.
Like,
no.
It's just, stop it. That's
for my bad, I put the... I know I said you have to narrow it down to two, but I had the police work. Just the aspect of the police shenanigans that they get into was pretty bad. I can't I just can't go through some of those scenes and be like, all right, sure. Like I guess that's how it works, huh?
Yeah.
Like,
also, more with the villain. Remember I said like Club Hell being the villain's hideout? The fucking cutting of the drugs outside in a basement in Florida.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
You need Walter White in there. He would have known what to do.
You need cold temperatures for drugs. You can't.
Michael Bay was not a big druggie, I guess.
So I guess my bad kind of falls into my ugly. It's just gotta be. And you ever just like watch a movie first and you see an actor or an actress in it and that's all you can think of them from that or whatever. Mm-hmm. Tia Leone or Lonnie. Oh, I remember watching her the first time I ever saw her before I saw Bad as a kid, and she was the super annoying mother in Jurassic Park 3. Mm-hmm. And that voice, I can't stand Julie, the character. I can't stand anything she does. Nothing she does makes sense in this movie. She is the worst character in this whole fucking film.
She just does not she doesn't get the identity swap. She doesn't pick up on anything. She's the worst witness in the history of cinema. There's nobody worse than that. Can't be. The bar is so low for her. Let's get into the ugly then. I'll mention mine because you guys had mentioned it, but I put Club Hell as my ugly because it's just, and I put it there for a different reason, being that it just doesn't fit the time anymore. Like this aesthetic of Club Hell is not a thing. Like this is I know I mentioned a lot of this feels very 80s. That clubs scene fit very late 80s horror vampire movies, but it fit very 90s that alternative rock, leather rock clubs. Like
it should have had a band playing instead of DJs.
Yeah, I just picture maybe
like
not
Filter
disturbed, but
playing.
like, yeah, like, you know, that like weird,
industrial
like
metal.
fast, yes, industrial rock. Like it reminds me of the scene in Ace Ventura when like he goes into like the mosh pit scene, like when it was like Cannibal Corpse, I think was playing. Like that's what it reminded me of. But what do you have for the ugly on this?
Well, mine kind of wrapped up into two, so I got nothing.
My ugly was mother bitch. The Indian, the racist Indian 7-Eleven convenience store owner was not necessary at all. That ages like fine milk. That is an ugly scene for no reason.
Yeah. Let's get into our time machine time a little bit. Let's cast swap this. So you can adjust this movie with any other movie that you want to. So just pick a cast and we'll kind of go through the list a little bit. And let me pull up mine because I have one that I think would lean more into the comedy aspect of it. And I think that's something that would have been really fun. But I would have put this movie truly in the 80s. And I would swap this with Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Oh.
I would have the cops be Keanu and Alex Winter. I think that's a perfect thing. And then as their captain, I would have George Carlin. Nice. So those are really the only cast members that you need to. If you want to go down the list, I guess you could pick other random characters in this movie, but like you could really just, as long as you get those leads, that's who I think carries this movie. So I would go Bill and Ted's. I would probably have Keanu as Mike Lowrey and then have Alex Winter as Marcus. That's probably how I'd play it.
Not bad. If I were to recast this, I'd probably go the comedy route, and you can just put in any of those Happy Madison guys. You know, I would probably have, because it's so Adam Sandler to just like always make hit, like every Adam Sandler movie with any of those Happy Madison guys, he always gets the smoking hot wife. So I'd probably put him as like, you know, Mike Lowrey. And then I'd probably put Spade as Marcus.
Okay.
Or and then like Rob Schneider as the captain.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Or like Kevin James, or you know, any one of those guys, or like Tim Meadows, like any of those 90s Saturday Night Live guys.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, Jimmy.
You're gonna do that?
I picked a Happy Madison movie. But so when you started going on about Adam Sandler, I'm like, there's no fucking way Jimmy's gonna say the movie I'm gonna pick. I picked one of their movies.
Chuck and Larry.
Oh, 1,000%.
I knew
it. 1,000%, bro. I was like, I swear to God, Jimmy, I was like, there's no fucking way that Jimmy's gonna say my fucking movie. There's no way.
I went more like the grown-ups, right?
Yeah, thank you. I would actually have Adam Sandler and Kevin James as Mike Lowrey.
Yeah.
But I would have Kevin James be the smooth one. Adam Sandler would be the family man. I'd reverse him. So Kevin James would be the smooth, the smooth talker. Adam Sandler would be the family man. Jessica Biel would be the dumbass Julie. The cops that are like the rivals, Ving Rhames and Steve Buscemi.
Yep.
And the chief would be Dan Aykroyd. The villain, Nick Swartzen.
God,
I would literally do that whole. This is my Chuck. I swear to God, if you would have said that, I was like, you got to be kidding me.
I feel like Kevin James though would be more of like the family man.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I would switch it.
Yeah,
just because
be the range.
Hey,
I like it.
Exactly.
I like it.
Switch it up a little bit.
Nick, what did you said you picked yours already, right, Nick?
I did Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I
took something. I did this for Kev because Kev always seems to, for some reason, pick a movie we've done on the time machine. So I took a chance. I'm thinking of a movie that he would pick, and I want to do it with you guys. If Kevin was here, I think he would pick the cast from Roadhouse to do Bad Boys.
Get Swayze up front.
Yeah, who would you cast from the Roadhouse cast for this movie?
Oh, let's go even tougher. Let's go Back to the Future. Mike Lowrey as Doc Brown.
Sophisticated, like Brown, like James Bond, baby.
So, I mean, if we did Roadhouse, I would say Swayze should be Marcus, and then I would have Sam Elliott as Mike.
Your smooth man, Sam Elliott?
Yep. You throw Kelly Lynch in there as Julie, and then you would take Brad Wesley, Ben Gazzara, I think it was, and have him as the captain.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I would have done.
I like that though.
I just know he would have done something ridiculous for no reason.
Yeah, just because.
That's wicked funny.
Right?
Right.
He would.
So Time Machine double feature. If you could pair this movie with any movie, what is your double feature? You go into the drive-in, movie 1, Bad Boys, movie 2, what is it?
Ooh.
Because I'm gonna go Rush Hour 2.
Okay.
I think I'm in the minority. I like Rush Hour 2 out of all the Rush Hours the most.
2 was good, bro. 2 had some emotional parts, so 2 was good.
Give me Bad Boys, obviously. And then give me oh no, it just left.
Give me an actor. I'll try to name it for you.
Come back to me. Edit.
All right.
Fuck. Edit this part out.
we'll circle back to you.
Oh man, it literally just
I had 2. Rush Hour was one of them. So since you said Rush Hour, I won't do Rush Hour. My number 2, Bulletproof. Adam Sandler and Damon Wayans.
Yeah.
You know, it was a cop and a criminal, but
okay.
That's what I would have done. Bulletproof after this to show just the buddy aspect from a different angle. One criminal, one cop. Do it different. I would have done Bulletproof, which doesn't get enough love. That was a fucking good movie.
Yeah.
Bulletproof's super good.
Bulletproof was great.
Is Bulletproof Bruce Willis?
No.
And Damon Wayans? What's the one where like
Bruce
Damon
Willis
Wayans is like a football player?
Oh, that's
Unbreakable?
Last Boy Scout.
No.
Last Boy Scout.
Last Boy Scout. I'm sorry,
okay.
You're right.
That's a fucking good movie too, though.
Yeah, that's a really good one too. Sorry, that was my bad. Okay, all right. So give me Bad Boys, and then give me, because it's kind of got the same kind of comedic vibe. Give me Live Free or Die Hard with Bruce Willis and Justin Long.
Okay.
And Timothy Olyphant's the bad guy.
Huh? I thought you would have. If you were gonna go Die Hard, I thought you would have won Die Hard with a Vengeance. Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson. But I see the Justin Long aspect. I
feel like Live Free or Die Hard is kind of up this alley.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. It is more.
That one more humorous than.
Yeah, Vengeance was a whole different type of movie. Vengeance was good though.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into this one. So prequel, sequel, requel, remake, spin-off, or pass. What should be done with this movie? Obviously, there's been a handful of sequels, but is this something you could see being remade today with new actors? Do you want to see maybe leading up to how did they get this $100 million bust? What do you want to do anything with this movie?
I'd like to see it remade. I know it's not up his wheelhouse right now, but just everything he's done from the past. Can Jordan Peele revive this and rewrite it?
He's kind of in that horror
that's
right now.
But if he can go back to his
it might be something different for him, like a challenge.
Yeah, but if he can go back to his Mad TV days or his Key and Peele days, and rewrite a good,
really touch it up.
Yeah.
Would you want to see them do it? Would you want to see Key and Peele as the actors in it?
Oh, they kind of did with Keanu.
Yeah. I would see that.
Give me, but I wouldn't have Jordan and Michael Keegan, or Michael
Keel, or whatever it is.
Yeah, how do you Michael Keegan Key? No, Michael Key. Whatever. Anyway, Key.
Keegan Michael Key.
Keegan Michael Key. Oh God. Yeah, but give me Jordan. I bet Jordan Peele could revamp it.
Yeah. D, what would you do with this movie?
Prequel. Show them becoming cops. They were friends in high school. Show them going to the academy, their first couple jobs together. How bad were they? Show their friendship develop as cops. First couple cases, and go up to their biggest case of their career when the movie ends with them getting that 100 kilos.
Putting it into the vault or whatever,
But yeah, I would have them do a prequel route. De-age them if you can. If you can't de-age them, you just pick 2 up-and-coming black stand-up comedians.
Yeah. So for me, I just kind of pass, right? I mean, like, what you're sort of describing is kind of 21 Jump Street with, like, the prequel aspect of it. There's so many good buddy cop movies that, like, do we need to remake this one in particular? I don't know anything that stands out necessarily that, like, screams this is the one to redo. So for me, I'd just pass. I'd let it kind of sit as it is. I'd let Bad Boys be Bad Boys. I'm sure in 15 years or even 10 years, once these two are kind of done with it, I'd imagine they would make another movie just called Bad Boys. I could see it not being a remake. I could see it just being sort of these style characters, kind of cops that are edgy and they're the bad boys, quote unquote.
You just said that. Jimmy, did you say what you would do on it? You said you would redo it, right?
I would like see, like
see Jordan Peele take
like
a swing at
Peele,
it.
Yeah, I mean, like I know he's into his, like you said, but like he's such a great writer. So I think he could tap in, especially tapping back into his old Mad TV days and his Key and Peele days and stuff. Like he's a brilliant dude. Actually, if you recast it, have Bobby Lee and Will Sasso.
Oh God, yep, best friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, it's funny. Like I said, as you guys were talking, I was thinking of idea. Like I said, the prequel. Nick, you said to leave it alone. I just thought of something. You take it a whole different route.
Ooh,
it's no longer Bad Boy. It's called a Bad Boy. It starts off with the death of one of them.
All right,
and it's a serious film this time. And I don't know who to kill off, but you kill off one of them, and then it's an emotional journey for the other one to not only solve that case but cement their legacy to be the ultimate friend and solve his friend's murder.
I got a good one. You say give me Mike, give me Marcus, and give me Captain Conrad, right? But who would you recast from any of the plethora of Marvel movies?
Marvel?
Ooh. To take over these?
Those 3 roles. So I would go however you want it for Marcus and Mike, but give me Ryan Reynolds, give me Chris Pratt, and give me Hugh Jackman as the captain.
Ooh, all right. I would do Downey Jr. as the captain.
Okay.
I'll stick with the Chris's. I'll take Chris Hemsworth and I'll take Chris Evans.
Oh, okay.
I would do Evangeline Lilly as Julie.
Oh, I didn't think about Julie. Yeah.
And then who would be a good villain? Okay, instead of Downey Jr. as the captain, I'm going to make Downey Jr. the villain, and I'm going to make the captain Paul Rudd. I need Paul Rudd in there.
Well, just because Julie's the worst witness ever, then give me Gwyneth Paltrow. And then for the villain, is it
that was tougher?
Ah, man. God, there's so many good ones. Oh, this is a stretch. This might be a stretch, but give me Lee Pace from Guardians 1 as Ronan, from like Ronan the Accuser.
Yeah.
As the villain.
Dude, how did you not pick these guys as the smooth guys, bro? Give me Loki as Mike Lowrey.
Oh yeah, Tom Hiddleston.
For my villain, I just had it. Loki's my Lowrey for sure. My villain is Doctor Strange.
Benedict
Cumberbatch.
Benedict will be my villain. My captain, give me Agent Coulson.
Okay, yep.
Josh Brolin would be a good captain.
I was thinking about him.
A salty cat, like a cranky, grouchy.
And like I said, it's Loki, and give me I'm trying to think of my Marcus. I don't want to do Reynolds. I don't want to do Thor.
There's just so many options now with the MCU, right? It's like this could be a category amongst itself. We could just do MCU casting.
That's true.
It's true. Julie is gonna be Scarlet Witch.
Yep, Elizabeth Olsen.
Olsen. Give me Hawkeye. Give me Hawkeye as Marcus.
We'll keep him as the Jeremy Renner. Yep.
So it'll be Renner as the family guy, Loki as the smooth guy. My villain's Doctor Strange, and Olsen's my Julie.
Give me Renner as the bad guy. Renner plays a really good bad guy.
He does, doesn't he? But he played a good family guy
as Gamble.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. That's another underrated movie, bro. SWAT was good.
SWAT's super good.
All right, well, let's get into our popcorn scale rating before we jump off. So 1 being burnt, 5 being that perfect golden buttered popcorn. What is your rating for Bad Boys?
I'll go 3. I'll go middle of the road.
Right in the middle? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go, what'd you say? 3.5?
2.5.
2.5?
Not fully a 3. Yeah. Their comedy and their acting makes it a halfway great movie, but that's it. It's a half good movie.
So, yeah. I think I'm going to keep the trend going of taking off 0.5 each time. I'm going to sit this at a 2 for me, personally. It's not me rating the movie. It's me just rating how much I enjoyed it. And I'm just not into these kind of movies. And for me to get invested, it has to be something ridiculous. Like, I do enjoy the Rush Hours. I enjoy the 21 Jump Streets because they're, I think, more comic oriented, whereas this kind of tries to dance on that line a little too much. And the comedy for me was just, it. Other than a couple one-liners, it didn't really hit. So I'll sit it at a 2 out of 5. Not bad. I'm not dying to go watch Bad Boys again since we kind of crushed through this movie a lot the last couple weeks. But
bonus, I think stack it for you guys. I'm sorry. Go on.
Yeah. No, I say before we jump off, let's hit the stack it.
Bonus stack it. 5 movies, 1 through 5. Buddy cop movies. Lethal Weapon, Rush Hour, 21 Jump Street, this movie, and I'm missing one. Give me another cop movie, another buddy cop movie.
I mean,
I mean, like I know Axel Foley's buying.
We'll throw Starsky in there. Yeah. So, out of all those 5 comedy action cop movies, rank them.
Oof. For me, because like I said, I'm not into these. I'm not a huge actiony kind of guy. Whatever. I'm gonna go Rush Hour 1, Jump Street 2, Lethal Weapon 3, Bad Boys 4, Starsky Hutch 5.
I'll go Lethal Weapon is 1. I'll go Rush Hours 2. I'll go Lethal Weapon. I'm sorry, Bad Boys 3. Then I'll go 4 will be Starsky and Hutch. 5 will be 21 Jump Street.
Okay.
I almost have the same exact list as Jimmy, but you switching the last 2. I go Lethal Weapon, Rush Hour, Bad Boys. I go 21 Jump Street, then Starsky and Hutch.
All right. That's a good one. All right. Well,
let's on the same page, Eric.
Yeah. The one right there, bro.
Well, let's send this movie back to 1995 and begin our reprogramming of the popcorn time machine. We will see you all next time with another blast from the past. And remember, be kind and rewind. We will see you later.
Peace. Yeah, Nick.